I want to take you back for a moment to the spring of 2014. At that time, I was 43 years old. And by all accounts, I was considered too young. But despite my age, I knew that something was changing. I knew that there was just a little bit of a difference happening in my body. And I wasn't really sure what it was. I thought I had an idea, but I wasn't 100% sure. So when I went to my gynecologist for my annual checkup, I decided to approach him with my thoughts and I asked, would you be willing to do some blood work just to kind of see like, is anything starting with regards to the change? At that point, he did kind of poo-poo me, said I was too young at 43, and they didn't check that for many years from now, right, or from then. I didn't really like his answer, but I thought, okay, he's a doctor, so I'm gonna not argue with him. Fast forward to the next year, spring of 2015, a little more than 10 years ago. I was 44 years old, and by then my symptoms were a little bit more pronounced. I still was not having the quote unquote normal symptoms of menopause, such as hot flashes or irregular periods, but I still knew something was off. Like I could feel it. I know myself very well. I know my body. I'm very aware. I'm very in tune. And I just knew it, right? I just knew it, but I didn't have the proof. So that year, I once again approached my doctor. And this time I said, hey, can you just humor me, please? Run the blood work. I have great insurance. It's paying for it. Like, can we just please do this? And he reluctantly did blood work. I think he just wanted to shut me up, to be perfectly honest. Lo and behold, it came back. And although my numbers weren't way off, they were just enough off to indicate that yes, my body was at the very beginning stages of perimenopause. Now, to pause here, just to kind of give you a little bit of, I guess, definition. Perimenopause basically means that you are around menopause. It means that your body is starting to go through various changes and that you are starting with various symptoms, but you are still menstruating, you are still pretty regular, and you are technically still able to get pregnant. So again, it's around menopause, but it's still significant. And when the numbers came back, I felt so validated. I wasn't excited to be in perimenopause, but I was kind of sort of excited, honestly, to be right. I know that sounds terrible, but I was. And it wasn't a moment of, ha, I know more than you, doc. It was really more a moment of, I just need you to listen to me as my physician, as my healthcare provider, and to trust that although I'm not an MD, I know my body. And so, with all that being said, I was anxious to know his thoughts. I was anxious to know what was going to be his feedback, his remedy, his solution. He was, after all, a board certified OBGYN. And I just knew he had some great solutions for me. And I'm here to tell you, friend, what he said, it completely just deflated me. I felt my proverbial balloon, just all the air come out of it. And I knew in that moment that I was going to have to make a tough decision. But before I tell you what he suggested, as well as my decision, I wanted to welcome you. If this is your very first time to my channel, thank you so much for stopping in. And if you have been watching me, hey, I am back. I know I have not put out a video in about 2 weeks. I'm going to explain that here in just a quick second. I wanted to first give a quick disclaimer. Although I am a licensed professional counselor, I am not an MD. I am not a registered dietitian. I am not a nutritionist. I am not a menopause expert on any level other than being a woman in menopause. So please know when it comes to your health, your medical health, your mental health, all of your health, right? All of your well-being, please know it is your responsibility to be in touch with your care team, your doctor, your dietitian, your therapist, to make sure that you are checking in with them first. I am here on this channel simply acting as a woman in menopause, giving you my thoughts, my suggestions. Yes, I am going to tap into my skill set as a licensed therapist, but I will not be acting as a therapist on this channel. I will not treat you. I will not diagnose you. I will not be your therapist. I am simply here to just be myself. So it's super important that you are responsible for your overall medical and mental health. Okay, so let me give you a quick update on what's happening with my channel, especially if you have followed me from the start. Originally, going back to April of this year, I called my channel Metabolic Mental Health Coaching with Mary. And I wanted it to be geared towards both men and women who are struggling in their mental health as it relates to their metabolic health. About a month into that topic area, I did a pivot and I thought to myself, you know what? I really want to focus in on women over 50 who are in menopause and they're struggling with their mental health. Like I really wanted to dial it down because honestly, that is me. And I don't want to talk to myself. I know that sounds kind of weird, but rather I know that I'm not alone. And I know that there are so many other women who can relate to what I'm going through. And so I wanted to be able to talk to her. I did not change the name of my channel. I didn't change my pictures. I just basically changed my description. And then I created videos that were specifically talking to women over 50, menopause, etc. At some point over the last month or two, probably the last like 6, 7 weeks, I realized I needed to pivot. Like I needed to do something. And I actually did a video about that and just talking about, I didn't know what. Like I knew I still wanted to talk to women, about menopause, mental health, but I just didn't have the answers. So this is where Kevin Colby comes in, Kolbe. If you don't know who Kevin is, be sure to check out his channel. He's a really interesting guy. No, he's not a woman. No, he doesn't talk about menopause. And no, he does not know anything about mental health. Like he's not a counselor or a psychiatrist or anything like that. But Kevin is a wealth of information when it comes to YouTube, creating a thriving YouTube channel. He definitely knows all of that stuff. So I reached out to him to do a coaching call. And on this call, Kevin helped me with two key components, the name of my channel, as well as my logo pic and my banner. So the first thing was my name. When he looked at some of my videos and he saw my name of my channel, he told me straight up, that's a mouthful. Like that is too much. Like I don't really know what that is. I'm not sure what you're talking about or really who you're talking about. The only thing I kind of recognize is mental health, and he was right. He was absolutely right. Like I was very open to constructive criticism. I wanted feedback because I truly, sincerely want to grow a thriving and successful YouTube channel. I sincerely want to help people. And so I was open to his criticism. And at that point, he just kind of threw out Mary Knows Menopause because he asked me, who are you talking to? What do you want to talk about? And I said, well, I'm talking to women over 50 and I want to talk to them about menopause, specifically their mental health in menopause. And he goes, well, okay, Mary Knows Menopause. And it was so simple. And at first I wasn't sure if I was going to use it. But then a few days later, I thought to myself, why not? Why not? I love it. Great, great. It tells you who I am. I'm Mary. And it tells you what I'm talking about. I'm talking about menopause. And so I decided to go ahead and use that title. So thank you, Kevin, if you happen to watch my channel again. The second thing he helped me with were my pictures. So when he looked at my logo pic, it wasn't a picture of me. It was a picture of an actual logo that I had a graphic designer design for me. And although I liked the logo, he was also correct in that I needed a picture of me. And he told me, he goes, unless it's something real specific, like something like gardening or he gave me another example. He goes, you don't necessarily need your picture in the logo pic. He goes, but because of the nature of your topic and who you are and what you're talking about, he goes, you really need to have that visualization for people, specifically women over 50, see you and to know, oh, okay, yeah, like she's the one. And so I had no problem with that. I didn't really have a recent picture of myself. So the picture in my logo, I'm going to be completely honest, even though you're not asking me to be honest, it's probably about 5 years old. But you know what? It's close enough. I'm still a redhead. So I changed my logo picture And then the banner came. In doing the banner, once again, I found myself a little bit of at a loss because a little quick sidebar, when you're creating a YouTube channel and you need to create a banner, it needs to fit in a certain parameter because it needs to be able to look appropriate on a television, on a laptop, as well as a mobile device. And if it only looks appropriate on one of those things, then it really doesn't, it needs to be ixnayed. So I went to Canva. Somebody recommended I go to Canva. So I went to Canva and I just kind of perused around. I found something I liked. I simply just put my name, Mary Arsenal Alexander, and then underneath it, you'll see I have women, menopause, and mental health because that is who I am. That is who I'm talking to, and that is what I am talking about. On the what, I'm also going to be touching on some other aspects of menopause. Yes, I am primarily talking about mental health because that is my expertise. That is the lane that I feel the most confident in. But there are so many other things that go along with menopause. I don't want to just limit it to mental health. So I'm also going to be touching on our brain health. I'm going to be talking about, the health of our reproductive system. I'm going to be talking about our nutrition, weight gain, weight loss. What are some ways that we can eat? Should we use things like GLP-1s, right? So I'm going to be kind of touching on some other avenues, some other points of menopause, but the foundation, the meat of this conversation, of this channel, will be centered around mental health. I counsel mostly women, and ironically enough, most of my women are in their 40s and 50s and beyond. And so they're literally like going through a lot of the things that I have struggled with my own mental health and menopause. And I see a lot of them suffering in silence, because another thing that I plan on touching on is how so many women choose to be in denial about what's going on. And that, unfortunately, is a detriment to them. So more on that in another video. So I told you my who and my what, and now I want to go to my why. I want to go a little bit more in depth into my why. And to touch on my why, we need to go back to the spring of 2015 so I can explain to you what my doctor said and then what decision that I made. So as I sat in that room, having these feelings of validation and a little bit of excitement to finally know what was going on with my body and my brain, my doctor looked at me and said very point blank, Mary, all I can do is give you birth control. It kind of hung in the air. All I can do for you is give you birth control. That's when my proverbial balloon deflated. That is when I knew in that moment, as much as I liked my male gynecologist and never had issues with him being a man before, like literally, I started going to a gynecologist when I was 18. All those decades, didn't care if it was a man, literally didn't care. I just trusted his expertise. I trusted his experience. I trusted his education. I trusted, his patient care. I didn't care that he couldn't get pregnant or have a period. But in that moment, at 44 years old, realizing that my body was at the very, very beginning stages of the change, and the only thing he could offer me was birth control, I knew that I had to find a female gynecologist. I knew that a switch has been flipped, and it was no longer about his expertise or his education or his experience. What mattered most to me then and still matters to me today is having a woman who either is currently in menopause, who's like walking this walk with me, or has just come out on the other side. A woman in her 60s who is a little bit, more progressed than I am, but still knows exactly what this is. Because being in this phase of life and going through all the things that I've been experiencing these last 10 years and what I still continue to experience today, I just need somebody who truly knows firsthand, knows what it feels like to have brain fog, knows what it feels like to have low libido, dry vaginal wall, forgetting words, memory loss, crying spells, mood dysregulation. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. I needed a doctor who truly understood that part of it. And I'm happy to say that I found her. I love Dr. Chilukter. I've been seeing her for not quite 10 years now. And she's been great. And what's even greater is she stopped delivering babies. I'm sure a lot of women in town hate that because she's a wonderful doctor. But as a 54-year-old woman in menopause, I loved it because now she's much more available, and she could sit with me a lot longer. When you're delivering babies as an OBGYN, like your time is very limited. Anyway, she has been such a wealth of information. And unfortunately, in medical school, doctors to this very day in 2025, doctors who are studying to be OBGYNs in medical school are still getting a tiny, tiny bit of education about women in our state of life. I don't say this to be flippant or to be a victim or anything, but women truly are forgotten after they stop childbearing years. They really are. I believe that the medical establishment overall, I'm not talking about individual physicians, I'm talking about the overarching medical profession. I believe they still think that we're fine, right? Our periods are stopping. We can't have babies anymore. So we're good. We're good. Just, I don't know, check in with your doctor. Make sure you don't have breast cancer or ovarian cancer, right? We're just kind of forgotten. And I really do believe that in dealing with menopause, that still there is this lack of education, this huge ignorance in what's really happening. And I'll tell you really quickly, I was, this was a few weeks back, my husband and I were just chatting, and I looked at him and I said, okay, I'm about to say something, and I want you to know I'm not joking. I'm not being facetious. I'm not being mean. I'm not being critical. I'm not being anything. I'm just being very, very earnest right now with you. I sincerely wish that you, as my husband, could experience all of the menopausal symptoms for like 3 months, like literally 3 months or 1 month. I don't know. I like just a short period of time, but like to fully like be immersed in all things menopause. I said, I really wish that you could experience it. And I have a wonderful husband. I really do. He's a great man, and he's truly empathetic, even though he has no idea what I'm going through. But I said that to him, and I said, and he kind of shook his head, like he knew what I was saying, and he didn't like get upset or whatever. But he did, in true fashion. My husband is a comedian, or at least he thinks he's one. Just very true fashion. He goes, if I did, or no, he says, if we did, meaning like men, there'd be a cure in 6 months. And I looked at him and I thought, you are so right. We both laughed, but I said, you're right. If men truly, truly experience all the menopause symptoms, even just for 1 month, there would be a cure for menopause. So, you have to laugh or you would just cry all the time. I got a little off track, so I'm going to go back to my wife for a moment. Bear with me. This is another one of those menopause symptoms or moments that I probably will be touching on in a video. It's so easy just to kind of get a little squirrely. But to loop myself back to my why, when I decided to get another doctor, a female doctor, and started working with her, and then just started educating myself, seeing the women come into my practice who were also struggling with the beginnings of like perimenopause, postmenopause, I just knew that I needed to talk more about this. This is a conversation that I not only deem important because I'm going through it, but it's a conversation that needs to happen because what happens to us, especially as it relates to our mental health, is really vital. Women in menopause over 50 have a higher chance of completing suicide than women of other ages. We are also at a higher risk of divorcing. It's a big deal. It is a big deal. And I want to be part of this conversation. This is something that I can talk about for a long time. And I really look forward to seeing where God takes me on this journey with you. In a nutshell, I am going to be moving forward, really honing in on some very specific topics. And I truly welcome your feedback. I want to have conversations with you. So if anything I said in this video resonates with you, if you enjoyed watching me, if there's anything at all that just kind of made you go, whatever, please let me know. Please make comments below, give me feedback. ask me questions, bring your concerns, tell me about your story, whatever you feel comfortable putting in the comment section, and just let me know because I want to have this conversation with you. Also, in the future, I am going to be doing some coaching calls. I haven't quite set that up yet. I'm doing these little baby steps, but in time, I'll definitely get there. Once that is in place, I will have link in my description so you can go to it and you can schedule a 1 hour coaching call with me, and I will have more information at that time. I am looking forward to just taking deep dives and maybe taking one particular topic like weight. I think that is a big one, no pun intended, because it has a direct impact on our mental health at this time. It affects our mental health whether we're 12 or 52. But something does kind of shift at this time. More on that later. But I do want to take like a deep dive and kind of dissect things. So give me your feedback. Let me know what you want me to talk about. And if I feel like it's in my wheelhouse, if I feel confident to go there, I absolutely will go there. And moving forward, I'm also going to be more consistent with videos every single week. The only reason I got off course, because I was doing videos every week prior to recently, the only reason that I got off course is because I needed to figure some things out. I needed to figure out the title and the pictures and all the things, all these updates that I've made. I needed to figure it out, the description and so forth. And so that kind of got me off track. And to be perfectly honest with you, I went to the beach for a week. So, there's that. So I am super excited about Mary Knows Menopause. And I'm very excited to talk to women over 50 about their mental health and menopause and all the other things that happen. If you really enjoyed this video, please make sure to like, subscribe, and click the notification bell. And lastly, if you know someone who could benefit from this channel, it would mean the world to me if you would hit the share button and send the link to her. So for now, my friend, I look forward to our next conversation. Bye for now.